Who is the deepest dark horse running back one overall in Dynasty Fantasy Football? We're talking about no. Not Bijan, not Gibbs, not anybody that's JT. Some of you don't have JT even in the top 5 in Dynasty because you only draft players that are 23 years or younger. But everybody plays a different level of Dynasty, but none of those guys are the guys I'm talking about. Genty, we'll bring him up, but he's clearly not going to be the deepest. But that is somebody that could absolutely be the running back one overall. The Fantasy Football Show Dynasty Edition, the Graveyard Show. If you're watching right now and you're not subscribed to the Dynasty channel, what are you doing? That show begins right now.
You're watching a
Graveyard Stream.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Dynasty Fantasy Football Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick this off we'll open the phone lines in a minute once we start getting into debate territory. But let's first just kind of, spitball this thing and say, okay, running back one overall in Dynasty is Bijan, right? Okay, who can we replace Bijan with? How deep can we go down the list and say this guy could be running back one overall? We know Gibbs can be the running back one overall. This is child's play. This is light work. We get to Achane. No, we know that's possible. That's not deep at all. Achane, certainly could be running back one overall. You want to stop here because we just love, talking about Genty all the time. But Genty's not even that deep of a call. A lot of people love Genty. They think he could be 1, 2, 3. Not the craziest call at all. We start getting into, okay, Jeremiah Love. That starts making some people uncomfortable when you say he could be the number one ranked player in Dynasty at the running back position after, let's say, a year. So we're getting there, right? This is kind of uncomfortable territory. Certainly possible he becomes the next complete monster. Certainly a player. I don't know if that's going to be. We'll put him over here. You guys are going to decide in the chat if we're dethroning him. I think, looking at probably Hampton would be the next name. Is that dethroning Love or is Love dethroning Hampton? Kind of feel like Hampton may be ranked a little higher than Love. Maybe not. It's hard to say. Who's dethroning who? Because one of these guys is going to advance. I don't know. They're kind of close, I think. You could argue Hampton's better than Love. You could argue Love's better than Hampton. Who's the bigger underdog to be the running back one overall? Vote who's the one that's overthrowing the other is the deeper call. Vote in the chat. I think Hampton, most people would rank Hampton above Love at this point. Given that Love isn't taking a snap yet, we don't know where Love's playing. So we'll delete Hampton and say, Hampton, you're not bold enough. But we're certainly in the realm of conversation. Love so far is the deepest potential running back one overall. I think we start getting into Hendy. We start getting back into the Breece Hall conversation. Now, I'm not saying that you're ever going to return to drafting him number one. So we might throw Hall out and just say Dynasty running back one overall. We're not talking about who finishes as the redraft one overall. We're talking about who finishes as the Dynasty running back one overall. Meaning in this example here, Hall would have to, after the season's over, start getting drafted as the running back one. Like we're predicting a dark horse who can rise up and become everyone's consensus running back one. That's the exercise here. I don't think Hall probably exits 2026 as everyone's running back one, should he even explode, right? Don't you think that even if he had a great year, people would doubt him? They would consider his age. But certainly somebody that we talk about, right? He could be ranked a lot higher in Dynasty walking out of 2026, exiting 2026. So I'm going to remove Hall, even though I have him on the graphic. He's definitely a damn good conversation. If he goes to KC and becomes an elite player, then, yeah, he's going to go 2, 3, 4, 5 overall for running backs the next year in a Dynasty potentially. Kyron Toner can't happen. There's no way anybody's drafting Kyron as a dark horse running back one. or it could be the dark horse Dynasty running back 1. Remember, this is Dynasty, not redraft. We're not predicting 1 year. So Kyron's not even in the conversation. Hall is still young. There's still a chance that we exit out of 2026 and people are like, I'm taking him as a 3rd running back next year. I don't care. I love Hall. Hall's the man. So we're going to take Hall off the board because he probably doesn't have the ability, I think, to get into the 1 overall. Certainly Chase Brown could be more like top 5-ish coming out of the season, but I don't think he'll climb to 1. Scatterboo could be 6, 7, 8, something like that, but hate his coaching situation, so that kind of hurts a lot. ETN could go to KC, become a monster, but I don't think that's going to be Dynasty running back 1. Maybe, some of these guys could be potentially redraft driven for the 2027 campaign. Harvey's got a little bit of that intrigue, but I think he'll fall short of being anybody's running back 1 coming out of 2026. I think it really does come down to these two gentlemen here. You see a guy like, I don't know, Bucky's deserving of a conversation, but probably not going to be anything close to running back 1 coming out of 2026. It really does come down to it's Genty. Genty gets bumped out very quickly. It's Love and Hendy. JT, not Dynasty running back 1. JT could have such a good year that he retains top 5 Dynasty value, top 6, but he's getting older, and I don't think there's any way he can maintain any sort of number 1 running back value. When it comes down to it, it's probably one of these two guys. This is the deepest dark horse Dynasty running back 1, not redraft, not he does so well in 2026. In 2027, he's the number 1 running back. That doesn't qualify. That's what kind of nudges Breece Hall out. Breece Hall could be so good in KC, he is the number 1 running back coming out of 2026. I'm not saying it happens. I'm just saying that world exists. That Spider-Verse is potentially around. And then he goes 1 or 2. K9, as Travis said, probably going to climb to 5, 6, 7, 8 if he goes to the right spot. But will he ever be running back 1? I think these are the two players that have the most potential to unseat anybody as a Dynasty 2027 number 1 ranked running back coming out of the 2026 production. I'm not saying they will be. I'm just saying they're the dark horse duo right here. Dial in.
Live from the
Call into
fantasy
the show. Call into the show.
Again, remember the assignment. The assignment is that you're thinking about Dynasty running back 1, not, okay, it's Dynasty, I'll take him for 1 year. That's not the question. The question is Dynasty. Who's being traded as a running back 1 in Dynasty? Who's being drafted as a running back 1 in Dynasty? And which running back is the deepest we can find that could have that title coming out of a 2026 successful campaign? It's probably these two gentlemen here because of their youth. Chase Brown probably can get to 1, but he could get to the top 4, 5, 6 in Dynasty for sure. I don't think he'll get to 1. Even if he had an amazing year, he's running back 1 or 2 overall. You'd have too many people that couldn't rank him 1. He wouldn't return as the 1. He'd return as a top 5 pick, but there'd be some anomaly talk. These guys right here, there's a real possibility that one of them exits 2026. It is the consensus running back 1. Like, that's the exercise. It's not really about who could surprise. It's more about who can surprise than sustain. So I'd probably say that's the way we're rolling with it. Again, Chase Brown wouldn't qualify, but he's definitely one of those, like Breece Hall could be 5 and people are like, wow. Phone lines are open. Dial in if you guys want to throw around a couple names. What would be this one's more of like a what if we played the same game and we said top 5? Like, they could be running back 5. They didn't have to be 4. They didn't have to be 3. In fact, we're trying to predict 5, not necessarily 2 or 3, but the number. Who could be number 5? Scatterboo, Chase Brown, all those guys would certainly qualify. Harvey, Breece Hall, those guys would all qualify. Who I think could be one of the deeper calls for the number 5? And I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm saying it's risky. this is a potential guy that could finish in that like 5-7 range for running backs. He also could vanish from the face of the earth with a couple fumbles, so it really is. I love him though in 2026. I love Bashal Tootin. For those listening on the audio pod, I realized I didn't say his name till right now. Bashal Tootin. I just put Bashal Tootin's name or picture on the screen. But yeah, I think these are the two. These are the two ballers that potentially could become a running back 1 overall. Now, are there roadblocks? Absolutely. Hendy's got Vrabel in his way. Love has landing spot, and then is he as good as we think he is? Is he bust? I mean, these guys are not locks by any means, but these are two players that feel the most capable of the criteria that we've spit out. So, ETN not in this context, but 5, yeah, for that conversation of top 5, sure. Absolutely. Manungai could be one of those like 6 to 10 guys, I think. Manungai's got that kind of upside, but not running back 1 capable. But I think definitely like in that 6 to 10. Top 10 running back, Manungai, certainly. Tootin, certainly. Scattaboo could be 5, 6, 7. But Manungai's ceiling would probably not be anywhere near 1 or 2 overall for running backs. Like picture everybody drafting this player as, if we're using the 5, if we're using the number 1 example, picture people drafting him number 1 overall in Dynasty 2027. That's the exercise we're talking about. Trey Benson, he could bounce back, Toner, but I'm not feeling real hyped about that hiring of Nathaniel Hackett, who will have some control over the rushing attack, bro. It's not good. And best ball, I do love drafting Benson and Connor, but I don't love drafting Benson or Connor in non-best ball. I won't touch him in redraft. Travis, you're live? I think. Hold on. Damn phone line. There's certain things you learn. I'm a pattern recognition specialist. And there's times where I figure out certain processes. If I go through a certain process of doing this, hitting this button at the right time, I know it. These damn things. What's up, Travis? You're live.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just got to restart my computer before the phone line will function again properly. But we're good. What can I do for you? You're live, pal. And what are you thinking on this conversation? Again, thinking not like, oh, Breece Hall can be so good in 2026 he's the running back 1. This is about he's so good and then he goes 1.1 or whatever the running back 1 goes in 2027 drafts. Like he becomes dynasty running back 1. Not probably possible for Hall, but who comes to mind for you that they could have that claim?
Yeah, so just quickly on Manungai, I wanted to say that I like Manungai, but even if Swift goes somewhere, they're bringing someone else in.
Yeah.
He can be a 3-down back per se, but he really isn't like fast enough, dynamic enough to do what Ben Johnson wants to do in an offense. There's always going to be another guy kind of floating around. Even if he took over the backfield and was like the main guy, there's always going to be a guy kind of floating around that takes just enough away from him that he could rise to that level.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just say he definitely, he's definitely not number 1 running back capable. But could he be a sneaky top 10 player? Like, could he become Javonte Williams? Could he become?
Yeah. Walker? Rashad White finishes RB4 1 year.
Yeah.
Any of these guys with certain talents and in the right system, they can definitely rise up for a year or two and be in the top 10. In the right situation every year. So I'm not taking anything away from him. But
I agree.
One thing, Manungai.
Yeah. They got him.
He's 780 yards this year. And
they own him in Dynasty, so they're just, I could come out and say, and I don't mean to say that anybody's not thinking clearly. I don't mean it like that. It's just the bias, that you're dreaming and drooling for. Like if I came out and said Manungai might be the number 1 running back in the league next year, there would be a lot of people that call me crazy, and they should, because it's not what I would say. But if I did it, there would be a certain number of Monangai owners that would be in the comments going, "Hell yes, Smitty, this is the best news I've ever heard." And even if they know it's not true, there's a certain part of fantasy football, ownership that you hear the good news, you'll take it however it comes, and you just want to hear it. But Monangai certainly has that. Him and Tootin and Scattaboo, and people view Scattaboo a little higher than Tootin and Monangai though. But Tootin, Scattaboo, Tootin, and Monangai, and maybe even what other running back fits that bill? Probably gonna be one of the rookies.
Yep, I was gonna say if one of these rookies land in the right spot.
Would say Woody, but I think they're gonna replace Woody. Those three guys are really the guys. Tootin, Scattaboo, and damn it, who's the other one? Tootin, Scattaboo, and Monangai. Those three guys one of them has top 8 to 12 running back potential. I don't know how long it'll be. Will it be short-lived? Maybe. But they certainly have that. But they're not running back 1 overall, this exercise is a little confusing, I think, for some people. Like, a lot of people, screaming out names that they don't. Could they sneak in, like Travis said, Rachaad White, top 5 running back, and then it's never going to happen again? But that's not the exercise. The exercise is you want, the 2026 campaign so good that he becomes running back 1 in Dynasty. Not very many players going to fit that bill. And, we had to cut it off at Hendy Love. Even ETN, who I think if he went to KC or Breece Hall went to KC, they could finish as running back 1, 2, or 3 in 2026, but they would not return. Even though people would say, this is a top 7 running back, bro. Even though, and we agree, they would return the next year as a top 5 to 7 running back, maybe a top 15 overall pick, ETN or Hall. If they finish as running back 1 in 2026 in KC, they would return as a top 15 pick the next year. But neither would return as the running back 1 in Dynasty. Love or Hendy could. Without even finishing as running back 1, they could have such a promising 2026 that everyone's predicting running back 1. Not saying both of them will, but that's the kind of exercise we're trying to run here. And I think these are the end of the road. You could put Harvey in here if you want. I don't think Harvey's as good as Hendy. I think Harvey's good, but I don't think he's as good as Hendy. I think Harvey's more of could he ever become running back 5, 7, 6, 10, and, bounce around? Sure. That's a great running back. He could be low-end running back 1, mid running back 1 any given season. Not taken away from Harvey. But this guy has the upside, the skill set, the breakaway touchdown ability, the offense, if they use him, the long-term values there. Love, same thing. He's going so high in the draft. No, if you're watching this months from now, you'll know where he lands. Right now, this is February 4. We don't know where he's going to go, but he's going in the top 10, and those picks are reserved for teams. If they're going RB, they have nobody, and so the volume is going to be there.
With Harvey, I think, and it's an obvious comparison, Kamara comparison. If you look at how he finished, his career finishes were 3, 4, 9. He had 1 year. He was 1 in PPR, 8, 16, 11, 9. So he can, basically a top 10 guy, top 12 guy. So I see Harvey as more of that, and I see Harvey kind of putting up similar numbers to Kamara if I use him correctly, where it's 800 or 900 rushing yards, 400 to 600 rushing yards. He can hit double-digit touchdowns, but because I do think Peyton try to bring the bigger back, and we've seen Thomas this year.
What's more
to hold him back, but
what's more likely?
Number 1.
Let's see your damn stupid thing. Hold on. A stupid focus. What's more likely? I'm going to write down some things. You have to pick one side. What's more likely? Tootin. This pen is just going crazy. Hold on a second. Tootin and ETN are, chat vote as well, are both top 10 RBs in 2026. Or Manungai is top 5. RB. What's more likely?
Yeah, I'll say both top 10.
Chat, what are you going to say? I think we got a people.
You can go somewhere else.
We got a lot of Manungai people in here, so I wonder if we're going to get a lot of Manungai. Yeah, I mean, that is assuming that for sure. What's more likely, chat? Drop a vote. Manungai, Tootin, ETN. Top 10. What? Oh, Manungai or Tootin and ETN. Okay. Bare bones is top 10 for both. 2 top 10 thing. All right. Here's another one. What is more likely? Breece Hall. You gotta assume he goes to KC, not New Orleans. You don't know. Breece Hall, top 2 RB in 2026. Or Parker Washington, top 6 wide receiver.
Breece Hall.
Chat vote.
That's a tall order, top 2. I get that. So.
Guys, vote in the chat.
I think people thought through the Jacksonville situation enough, but Washington did, because I said I've voiced my concerns about the crowdedness of it, but I don't think they come out of soft even with all the guys there. I think they're going to try to move BTJ.
What's more likely? P. Wash is a top 8 Dynasty wide receiver. Dynasty. Or one of Tate and Tyson. One. This has to be one. Is a top 5 wide receiver in Dynasty. No, top 4. Top 4.
Coming out of next year.
So let's say we play out the whole 2026 season, and then exiting Tate or Tyson, you can pick either one. So you don't have to be right. You just get both of them. You get to have both of them selected. So we walk out of 2026. Chat, vote on this one. And one of these guys is a top 4 Dynasty wide receiver, or P. Wash is a top 8 Dynasty wide receiver.
I'm going to say P. Wash only because I think clear top 5 wide receiver is really hard to do. Now, the one or two, like say if Rice gets suspended and one of them ends up with Patrick Mahomes, and they get force fed, that's where I could see something like that. But
yeah. Interesting stuff. All right, I don't mean to derail the show off of those. We'll do a whole show.
No, I think these are good exercises.
Yeah, we'll do a show on that though, or this or that. All right, anything else on the Love and Henry thing? I don't know that I'm going to be here much longer. I just want to make sure we had something going on.
Breece Hall, I was going to say, he was like a couple years younger. I think maybe he could be in that conversation, but because I think he turns 26 in May. Yeah, he'll be. Oh no, he only turns 25 in May.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
He's a real outside chance that think because people have been down on him, he might have to be like top 5 back 2 years in a row. People to be drafting him as the number 1 over.
Which then he'll run out of time. I don't think the world would, even if he finishes RB1, I don't think the world would in consensus rank him 1 again for Dynasty the next year. But that isn't to say he wouldn't be like 3 or like if he finished running back 1 again.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't qualify him. Otherwise, he would have been the winner. But I think the conversation about how he barely misses the cut because of the way people think in Dynasty, and it kind of should be a lesson not to think that way. But because I know for a fact that even if he finishes running back 1, people would say the mileage is too high, he's older, it's not going to happen again. He would still have enough believers to draft him in round 1. Let's say he's in KC, he finishes as running back 1. And look, this is kind of a off-the-wall prediction or conversation or scenario, but I mean, Hall is that good. If Hall goes to the right spot, and this is one of the best values in fantasy right now, which is kind of why I did this show, to be honest. It was, and then he didn't qualify, so we went off on a tangent, but I'm glad we're talking about it again. I have him on the graphic because I think he's one of the best steals in fantasy football trading Dynasty right now, because he is absolutely talented enough to produce like the number 1 overall fantasy football player. And he has enough years, 2 or 3 at least, to do it, and if the thing is, nobody's talking about him now, because right now he's not even tagged. Like, there's 2 steps that need to happen before he becomes available for everybody to be like, okay, now I'm in. And the first step is getting tagged. The second step would be getting traded. And then the idea of those 2 roadblocks just makes people stay away from it. And then he's not a young spring chicken, even though he's still very young, and he's got mileage, and people hate that. He's one of the best values in fantasy, period. In redraft and Dynasty and Keeper League and Dynasty existing and Dynasty startup, he is a fantastic player. I take him in redraft with a smile because he's going like in the 3rd round. I'm getting him as in many cases, running back 2 at the top of round 3 in redraft. And then in Dynasty, there's no way he's going near the top of 3 in Dynasty. If he's barely going there in redraft, people are fickle. People are going to be scared of his, age and everything, and the mileage and unknown situation. He's going late 3 at the earliest, but probably more top of 4. Depends who you're drafting with.
Yeah, and just back to the love ending. I agree that if the Patriots want to keep, doing the everything, or they draft a different big back and do the split backfield thing, then obviously pull them back. I'm of the belief that they're going to transition more toward Tendy in the offseason going into next year. They'll have the opportunity to be the...
Oh, yeah, I do too.
The 70% guy in that backfield come next year.
Yeah, I do too, and I hope so. And Ramondre's got to stay healthy, and injuries open doors in weird ways too, and situations like when we all thought that Algier would be forever in the way, and it did feel that. It felt the Ramondre thing felt probably maybe a little bit more dominant than the Algier thing, but at the same time, if we could get back in that moment where everybody was so fed up with Algier that there was a lot of thinking like, this isn't going to change. It's going to forever be this way. And it does. The talent is there. Hendy, at some point, Hendy's so good, he will start being better Ramondre in practice. And then he'll start, we can't always a lot of people forget, it's not just what we see on the field. There's so much other stuff that goes into it. Hendy's learning. They understand how explosive he is. And Ramondre is going to slowly lose speed and skill as he's getting older. How old is Ramondre? He's now what? 20.
Probably 25, 26. He's about to turn 28.
Yeah. So, I mean,
February 23rd, he turns 28.
We're on a Dynasty.
Old year, turning 29 next year.
Yeah. So in Dynasty, we're in the Dynasty conversation here. There's a chance that Hendy gets a little bit more work stolen from him again next year is possible, but then they're moving on. So I'd hate to burn another year. That'd be awful. But Bijan, this is Bijan's third year that he just played, right?
Yep.
And it was remarkable. And so just understand in Dynasty how some things can work. Now redraft, there's a little bit of a concern of we'll find out in the Super Bowl here. Travis thinks they're going to feed him a lot. I hope. I'm not saying that. I hope they do. So Travis thinks they will. I hope they will. And then a lot of other people hope that.
Think they're going to feature him. I think he's just getting a decent amount more work than he has.
All he needs is a house call.
I think he's going to get 8 to 10 touches at least.
I mean, he just needs a house call. He gets a house call, we're all happy. We don't care what he gets. If he gets a 70-yard house call, 60-yard house call, we're all. But this is Seattle. It's a Seattle rushing attack.
He needs that opportunity, though.
Yeah.
People think, with 2 or 3 touches.
Man, what will you do if Ramondre fumbles this game away?
It is what it is. I can't. I've accepted what it is. It's depressing.
I can't lie, Travis. I'm an honest man. Part of me.
I don't think he has. He hasn't fumbled though. So
I know, but part of me feels like this is Vrabel's owed.
Want it to happen.
Vrabel's owed this. This is the price that Vrabel's gonna pay for not getting Hendy ready, because this is the way I look at it. It's like you can't walk up to a person and say, we're not hiring you as a waitress or a waiter because you need experience. And then you can't, how am I supposed to get experience if no one will hire me? How is Hendy supposed to be trusted in this type of situation if you continue to kick the can down the road? And let's put him in a situation where I trust him later. Let's worry about that later. And it's like, that pisses me off. Not to mention when Ramondre was removed, Hendy was fine. He did everything he needed to do. He didn't make any mistakes, and he won games. And he had multiple 50+ yard house calls. What was it? 3? How many did he have in the 3?
350+ yards.
3.
I think it was 3.
50+ house calls in 2 games. And then they just go back to not using him. And to me, that's malpractice. But
yeah, and I can even argue that these playoff games were odd, where there was weather coming in, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying mindset was they trust Ramondre more, which, right or wrong, that's what it is. And that's why in these snow games, at the end of the game, they were giving Ramondre the ball. Again, you disagree. I even disagree to a point. I do think in terms of blitz pickup, stuff like that, after looking into it, Hendy took a little while to learn the NFL game in that sense.
Yeah, I hear that.
He's okay now. I think he's okay now.
Yeah, I do too. And it frustrates me that the guy that is if Hendy's okay now, which we all kind of agree, and not to mention he's one of the best pass pro running backs to ever come out of college from the college measurement. But he needed this goes to show that you don't just need to be good at pass pro. You need to be able to learn pass pro in the system you were drafted into. So it's not like he could just walk in and, pass pro? Yeah, I got it. You got to learn the system. You got to learn the system you're in. It's complicated. So it's not that he didn't know pass pro. Right. And it's not that he didn't know pass pro. He didn't know the playbook to pass protect, the way he needed to. So that's more of what it was about. People think, he guessed he wasn't good at pass pro. That's really lazy. He wasn't versed in the Patriots offense enough to know where to be. And that's where he screwed up. But the problem that I have right now sitting here as an outsider is the risk of Hendy messing up a pass protection now seems like a lesser risk than Ramondre fumbling the ball away when the game's on the line, given his, I know he hasn't fumbled in a while, but that's when the guy goes, this guy missed a free throw in 11 shots. Then he just, boom. Like, part of me's like, you know, as a fantasy analyst, and I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm sorry, Travis, how this sounds, but part of me's like, if Ramondre fumbles away this opportunity, then Hendy's starting week 1. And then it's like, but here's the thing. How about this? Can we meet somewhere in the middle, Travis? He fumbles the ball away, they lose it, and they still win the game.
I'm not even talking about it. I won't even.
They still win the game.
I'm way too superstitious.
Okay, yeah, sorry. He's never going to call into the show again before a game.
No, I'll come on. I'll just be the no comment guy when it comes to that. It's too superstitious.
Get my first thumb down from Travis. He's pissed. All right, well.
The one thing that annoys me, okay, is that they won't even use them in the
right.
They won't even throw the ball.
Yeah. And run him out there as a receiver.
All year that's annoyed me is that you can literally put him out as a receiver, put both backs out there, get a little more creative. And there's always time to give him,
who am I?
8 to 10 carries a game, no matter what.
Who am I? Anybody know who I am right now? I should do the whole show like this.
Smitty?
No, this is how Vrabel stands the whole game.
Well, Vrabel. I just thought it was too.
Yeah, I mean, what's he looking at? You have a bad back? I think he's getting low, and he's watching Ramondre's hands, and he's like, "Don't drop that ball! Don't drop that ball, you son of a b."
About it.
All right, I'm out of here. Travis, thank you for calling in.
Ready.
Later, bro. Deepest running back 1 overall, 2026 and beyond. 2027. Well, really, yeah, 2026 and beyond. These two. See you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to click the links in the description below. TheFantasyFootballShow.com rankings, bold predictions, trade calculators. Your boy's been doing the Dynasty content since 2002. Literally, the internet was around to the average Joe for 5 years. That's it. When I started this thing, this racket, there's no trade calculator. Your boy invented it in 2002. As far as I know, because I combed the earth for one, couldn't find one, so that's why I actually got into the business, was to create the trade calculator. So get on over to the content there, and then also 365 24/7 live chat group. Both those links are in the description of the video. I will see you all tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to this Dynasty channel. This is a different channel than the main channel. You might not know that. You might have just been recommended this and you think you're watching the main channel. Please subscribe to this channel. Please also subscribe to the Rumble channel, because that thing's growing like hotcakes over there. You want to be a part of that. Appreciate you. Cabs to the moon, says Coach. Later. Appreciate you all.